All right. So this is an exciting day. I get to interview one of my heroes. So today we'll be talking for the second episode of With Your Mind in Mind. My first one was with my son, Miles James. And the second one is with the real Joe Standing. Oh my gosh. So thank you so much for coming, Joe. Thank you for taking time. You are literally doing amazing work. Like, I'm amazed every day to watch what you're doing and to see your movement.
Thank you.
So I'm glad you're here. So actually, I'm going to let you introduce yourself because I feel like I'm going to butcher all of the amazing things that you're doing, your books and the name of, your program. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what
My
you're doing.
pleasure, and I'm sure you'd far from butcher anything, Sherry. I speak on the stage, and I am in awe of the fluidity which you bring your ideas to the world. So thank you for having me, first of all. And just so everyone has a little bit of an idea, you get a picture in your head. I am the founder of Trauma Cooperative Yoga Teacher Trainings with my company Inner Beat Yoga. And I have written books on trauma resolution after doing a lot of it myself. However, like everyone else, being on this earth, we encounter many opportunities for new trauma experiences, if you will, and that is in a realistic sense. Not in there's zero negativity about that. It's just that this world can be, and often is for a lot of us, traumatic. And yet, if we stop there and acknowledge that fact without attaching a definite emotion or belief system, then we can truly find ground in developing the person that is being unearthed through that trauma.
Absolutely. And I want to say that I started out this year on your show. So I did a whole Instagram live thing. It was terrifying, but you definitely have that energy. You have an amazing light about you. And
thank you.
It was one of the coolest experiences that I've had so far in 2020. So definitely kudos to you. I so appreciate the way that you bring together not just active duty military, but veterans, post-traumatic PTSD survivors. And it's just such an open forum. People are comfortable saying what they feel. They don't feel attacked. It was a wonderful way to start my year. And so I really want to thank you. And not just for me. So, I wrote this book about my dad's suicide, and I just literally pray that you can help people not make the same choice my dad did. And I see this light radiating from you. You are doing this work, and I need you to understand how grateful I am as a survivor.
Thank you for having the courage, for having spoken to me about the loss of your father, but that gift is inherent that allows you as his daughter, who has so much more impact than someone who hasn't been directly related to someone who has taken that permanent choice or step. Right. So he is so proud of you, and I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I do. All right. So let's talk about you. So tell me, tell all of us, why Inner Beat? Why did you decide to name your company Inner Beat Yoga? Explain that for us.
Okay. Sure. So everything, when we really look at our lives, boils down from an inner start. Mm-hmm. Everything is founded on something that transpires or takes place within our own inner sanctum. And it's only a sanctum or a holy place if we treat it as such. If we allow other people's agendas, thoughts, beliefs, feelings even, to creep in on our center, then there's no longer a sanctum or a sacred place. So in that spirit of acknowledging our own inner wherewithal, our ability to designate action from the center of ourselves, that's where Enerbeat Yoga is born.
I love it. I love it. And I love that that's not just what you talk about, it's what you do, and that you have the ability to share that with us on Instagram and all the other social media platforms. So I appreciate you actually living up to what it is that you're doing. So we can see that and we feel
a lot
it.
of hard work. It's warrior work. Maybe not hard work. It's actually quite gentle to acknowledge that we're more than our past and future and mistakes or shortcomings. We're the birthplace of all possibility. It's in here, no matter what anyone tells us.
I love that. And that's so important right now with what's going on. I think everyone, I'll share something with you that I didn't get to share with you when we talked earlier. You asked me how my day was, and I did the thing, right? I'm like, oh, everything's great. But today was a challenging day. I received all of my boxes from my office at my previous employer. So it was just kind of this rush of emotion, right? There's the FedEx guy, and he's got all these boxes. But I honestly, I thought about you, and I'm like, you know what? These boxes don't necessarily personify who I am. It is what I was doing, right? And so I do know that the universe works on purpose, and the fact that we had this call scheduled today helped me stay focused on, kind of like you said, that inner sanctum. Like, you know what, it's just 6 boxes of things, but Joe and I have some bigger work to do, and it's not encompassed in those boxes. So again, I so appreciate just the energy.
How long have you been released again from that position? Or
just 2 weeks. So it's been 2 weeks. Mm-hmm.
So it's so ways. I can hear you. It's a wonderful opportunity to bring home the realness of the situation, some closure. Mm-hmm.
And there's like 22 million people who are actually dealing with this right now. I mean, that have lost their jobs due to this. Yeah, it's pretty significant. And so again, I'm grateful to be able to try to do this work and say, hey, I'm actually going through it, but I want to with your yoga class. I'm excited. I'll be there on Saturday.
Oh my, that big smile.
I'm ready. I need this. And so I'm actually grateful for this time that I get to work with you. I get to learn under you and apprentice, and hopefully get that calm spirit that you have. I want that. I need some of that in my life.
I'm excited to see you kindle that within you with the tools that Enerbeat and myself offer you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's talk a little bit about mindfulness. The last few times you and I spoke, I was very guilty of not being mindful. My brain was all over the place, obviously.
I didn't find you that way at all.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, I felt like it. Yeah, I'm probably pretty good at masking it after being in corporate America for so long.
Exactly.
You just learn how to.
Wow, you just hard charge, as our veterans say, hard charge through, and people receive that confidence that you exude.
Yeah, sometimes it's not that good though. Sometimes we need to,
because the mask doesn't help anyone.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about that. So, let's imagine I was still in corporate America. And I am, but just now for myself. But talk to me about activities or some things that I can do, or some of my friends can do throughout the day to practice mindfulness. And everything's happening right now, especially at home. So we've got kids running around in the background, and we've got cats and dogs and husbands and wives and spouses and partners. So can you give us some tips on things we can do to gain mindfulness in the midst of all this chaos?
Well, absolutely. The word full is in the word mindfulness, and it's actually the antithesis, the reverse of that. So it's how do we, as one of our veterans, one of our Army veterans I was just speaking to, says, it's how do we get that clear mind? What is it for you? And it looks different for everybody.
Right.
So I think we become wound up, as you were saying, to circle back to our definitive roles. We over-identify with our roles based off of, more times than not, this false sense of survival. Because we're so hardwired for survival that a part of us, if we don't check in with ourselves, starts to believe that there's only one route, only one way to feed our long-term durability as people.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing to do is, for some people, it's going to be very different from the next person, as we know, of how we meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2003, I was at this world-renowned lifelong learning institute called Esalen Institute in Big Sur, California, on the coast.
Familiar. Yeah, I've heard amazing things about that place.
Yes. It's on a lot of people's bucket lists. And there was this neuroscientist who's since passed away. She was quite amazing. She was in a wheelchair, actually. And she was for the rest of her life. And she worked every single day from that chair all day long, supporting people's inner sense of resilience and what does that mean for each individual. And what the most miraculous thing that I took away from listening to this woman talk was that this one man who had been meditating in the traditional sense every single day, sitting down in his easy sitting pose, it's called, or sukhasana in the language. Your legs are down, hands are maybe on your legs, closing your eyes, finding your inner focal point. That caused him to be in a state of anxiety and stress. And for 20 years, but he was so doggedly determined to do this practice of this inward focus in this traditional sense that he stuck with it. Well, finally, he learned about this woman, and he goes in and to speak with her, and she puts the EEG, the electroencephalograph, on his brain. And so we have a node here, and maybe one here, one here. It's reading his brain patterns. And what she's amazed at is that this man is in beta, so he's highly charged as he sits in the traditional form of meditation. This is actually the reverse, 180 from where you want to be in meditation. The goal of meditation is focus on one thing at a time, to calm your mind, to focus your mind, but also calm your mind, because the brainwave that we're aspiring toward and working toward, genuinely working toward in meditation. And again, meditation has a different interpretation, and this will come back to how this hypothesize these people that, you know, you are working in a corporate world and you're working from home now, and you have the stressors of the corporate workplace in your living room or in your bedroom, wherever you can find place for your desk, and your kids and your dogs and your cats and your whatever, all around your space. So again, finding that inner sanctum, that inner sense of equilibrium with, I can be with one foot in this world and one foot in that quiet sense of that pervasive okayness, that no matter what's happening, I'm also aware, like Sherry was talking about when she was opening those boxes, I'm aware that this is a stressor